Beijing's famous business community used to be bustling with people, but now the streets are deserted. I love Beijing. What's going on recently? Brothers, this is a night market. Why is the night market, which was once bustling, so deserted? There is no business at the stalls, and there is no business in the shops. Why is it so deserted? Is there going to be a war? You said that China's population is not small at 1.4 billion, so why don't you see anyone coming out? From 8 o'clock in the morning until now, let alone opening, there is not even a child. Affected by the overall economic environment in China, Beijing is becoming more and more depressed. A large number of shops have closed down, more and more people are fleeing Beijing, and many restaurants have no customers, and the situation of workers seems to be even more serious. According to reports, some part-time workers in Migrant are facing the dilemma of 1 day full and 3 days hungry. Today we will talk about related topics. Let me show you how difficult it is to run a physical business now. This is why I don't recommend you invest in physical stores if you have some spare money. I live in a community in the East Fifth Ring Road of Beijing. As soon as I leave this community, these 3 stores are all closed. They have been closed for more than half a year, and they have not been rented out yet. In this hot pot food supermarket, a plate of beef or something costs 70, 80 or more than 100 yuan, which is very expensive. Who comes here to buy? These are ordinary people. These 2 stores have been vacant for more than 2 months, but they have not been rented out. The location is very good, next to the community entrance. You see, this one is newly rented out, selling flower tea. I don't even need to think about it. It will definitely not make money. Who drinks tea? Who buys flowers? 4 or 5 stores near my community have closed down, but it is still open. There is another empty store here with a large area of 246 square meters with upper and lower floors. I tell you, there is no store in this area that has been developing stably for a long time. Beijing Zhongguancun Entrepreneurship Street was officially opened in June 2014. It used to be very lively here, but now there are no people on the street. The blogger said in the video that Zhongguancun represents the forefront of Beijing's technology. He experienced the glory days of Zhongguancun and was shocked to see it become empty in just a few years. It's really good. This bookstore is still there, called China Bookstore, but this Zhongguancun Entrepreneurship Street has completely failed. There is also a security guard with a red hoop. All the people in Zhongguancun Entrepreneurship Street have moved away. It used to be very lively here. Migrant in the southeastern suburbs of Beijing is a job-seeking spot for migrant workers looking for odd jobs. There is a saying in Beijing that, if you are in trouble, you must go to Migrant. However, in recent years, Migrant has seen a situation of too many people, too few jobs and lower wages, reflecting the current dilemma of the mainland's employment market. Have you ever seen a labor market at 4 a.m.? This is the most inclusive place in Beijing, Migrant. Can you imagine it? The most common people here are 50 and 60-year-olds, and a backpack is enough to hold all their homes. When it is below 0 on the street at 4 a.m., some people are still asleep, while others have already carried their life bags. Here, a breakfast of 5 or 6 yuan can fill their stomachs. After all, only when you are full can you have the energy to work. Today, the lowest wage is 130 yuan for 8 hours and 260 yuan for 12 hours. You can do express delivery sorting, mud removal, and brick moving as long as you have the strength. Whenever a boss says he wants to recruit workers, they will quickly surround him, because in the world of Migrant, not being active means no food to eat, and only by working hard can you win more opportunities. As long as you are selected, it means you have a way to live today. I saw someone on the internet saying that Beijing is good but too tiring. Some people come with dreams and can only leave crying in the end. It is difficult for people who do odd jobs in Beijing to find jobs, and it is also difficult for college graduates to find jobs. Blogger Guo said that there are 3 college students in her family, all of whom are unemployed. There are 3 college students in my family who are all unemployed. I'm looking for a job in Tianjin, my sister is looking for a job in Zhengzhou, and my brother is looking for a job in our hometown. I worked in Beijing for 5 years before moving to Tianjin. I came to Tianjin
My
for the
sister worked in
postgraduate
Beijing
entrance
for 3
examination
years
last
before,
year, and has
I
now
started
gone to
looking for a job
Zhengzhou
in
to look for a
February
job
this year, but I haven't
She has
found
been
one
looking
yet.
for 2.5 months but hasn't found one. My brother worked in Hangzhou for 2 years before and now can't find a job in Zhengzhou. He has been looking for a job all over the country but still can't find a suitable one. So how did the national unemployment rate of 5% come about? It's because almost everyone in our family is unemployed. I don't really understand where the 5% unemployment rate comes from. I feel like there are unemployed people everywhere around me. I left the workplace for 2 years and returned to Beijing this year to job hunt. Despite having 5 years of experience, I've had very few interviews. One company I negotiated salary with later said they stopped recruiting due to budget cuts after 3 rounds of interviews and a month of waiting. Another company also halted recruitment during the 3rd round. Last year, after negotiating salary with another company, internal restructuring delayed the process until the offer was eventually canceled. It's all just too outrageous. Blogger Liu Xiaoyang and her husband are also migrant workers in Beijing. At the end of 2023, they spent all their savings, paid a down payment of more than 1.8 million yuan, and borrowed 2.8 million yuan from the bank to buy a house within the 5th Ring Road in Beijing. However, a year after they bought the house, she was laid off by the company and left the company where she had worked for 8 years. Their lives suddenly fell into trouble. The sudden change caught me off guard. With our current situation, my husband's salary alone is not enough to support our monthly mortgage of 20,000 yuan and family expenses. All our savings from the past few years have been used to pay the down payment. Now I have no job and the balance in my wallet won't last long. This kind of thing happened to me, and I deeply realized how important cash flow is to a company and a family. If a company has no cash flow and encounters a crisis, the final outcome is bankruptcy. If a family has no savings, once something happens, it will be a mess. These past 2 days, I have been thinking about how to work in the future. At the age of 35, should I choose to start my own business or continue to look for a job? If I start a business, it is impossible to have income in the short term, and it also requires capital investment, and the risk is very high. With our current family situation, we can no longer afford any risks, and I don't have a particularly good entrepreneurial idea. Obviously, starting a business is not realistic. Looking for a job, a 35-year-old mother of 2 has no competitiveness in the workplace. Many people are eyeing jobs that pay just a few thousand yuan, and the salary is not enough for our expenses. I didn't expect that being unemployed in middle age would be so embarrassing. Dai, a migrant worker in Beijing, has been unemployed for almost 3 months and has not found a job. She went to an interview that day. The interview location could be reached in 1 hour, and there was no need to change buses. The commuting distance was really good, so I was looking forward to this interview. I communicated well with the other party on the recruitment software. Their online store sells maternal and infant products, which I am also very interested in. When I arrived at the interview location, the person in charge of the e-commerce department interviewed me first, and we had a very pleasant chat. After chatting for more than 20 minutes, he said that he needed the person in charge of another department to come for an interview. The person in charge was a serious-looking man, and his questions were quite professional. However, after he asked how old my baby was, he did not ask any further questions, which made me feel a little uncomfortable. Since the United States imposed heavy tariffs on Chinese goods, many Chinese exporters have stopped orders, and containers have been stranded at the docks. Suzhou Port recently posted an announcement that it will provide foreign trade companies with 3 months of free storage services, but can this alleviate the serious losses of exporters? The Office of the Suzhou Port Management Committee issued an announcement stating that in order to support foreign trade companies to overcome difficulties, from now on, all container terminals at Suzhou Port will provide free storage services for the import and export heavy containers of foreign trade companies in the city, tentatively from April 18 to July 17, 2025. The announcement of Suzhou Port means that many export containers are stranded and manufacturers are under considerable cost pressure. However, CCTV's narrative, the propaganda organ of the Chinese Communist Party, is another "everything is going well" scene. CCTV reporters went to Kunshan, Suzhou, and described that, although the factory has suspended the production and delivery of most products exported to the United States, the R&D department has not stopped but has become even busier. The company is planning to bring forward the launch of new products originally scheduled for next year or even the year after to this year. CCTV also interviewed a so-called Indian agent who is in negotiation, Raghu Bialia, who said, "In our country, there is a rapidly growing consumer population and the functions and quality of Chinese products are very good. I am very optimistic about this market." Chinese export manufacturers lamented that the company is dead. On the other hand, China's social media seems to be in a parallel time and space, and many export manufacturers uploaded videos wailing that they can't hold on. Danyang Yipin Clothing Company, also located in Jiangsu, uploaded a video on the 10th of this month in which workers were unloading bundles of goods from trucks. The manufacturer said that all 60,000 down jackets have been suspended. It's closed down, it's really closed down. The person in charge of Berkeley Supply Chain Technology, Guangzhou Kanchi Ltd., took a mobile phone to shoot the company's current situation on the 11th. The company, which originally had annual sales of 200 million and 60 employees, now has only a few people left. The title of the video reads, "Involution, population drop, tariffs, products can't be exported, the company is dead." The person in charge said with tears in his eyes, "I opened a restaurant, the restaurant went bankrupt, and I opened a mine, and the mine also went bankrupt. I'm not afraid of being laughed at. After 20 years of hard work, it went bankrupt overnight. I thought I was a dragon, but it turned out to be a tapeworm. Now I'm confused again, I don't know what to do, but in fact, I went bankrupt." In Zhejiang, another major export province, Taizhou mechanical and electrical manufacturer also shared a video, which wrote tragically, "If small and medium-sized enterprises in the trade war are sacrificed, everyone should remember the name of our company. Because of tariffs and export orders, piles of products are placed everywhere in the camera. All foreign countries have suspended shipments, so many goods are all pressed here. In this tariff trade war, small and medium-sized enterprises like ours are the first to bear the brunt." Export to domestic sales price war involution. In response to the tariff war, more than 10 Chinese e-commerce platforms, including Alibaba, Douyin e-commerce, and Kuaishou, have also launched foreign trade zones and green channels to try to assist Chinese foreign trade products in export to domestic sales. However, in addition to the lack of domestic sales channels, export manufacturers are also facing fierce price wars in the involution of the local Chinese market. With the limited Chinese consumer market, local manufacturers are also complaining. Taking home appliances as an example, China Home Appliance Network pointed out that with the concentrated return of export orders, the surge in supply is inevitable, which will make the already involutionary home appliance industry face more severe tests. According to data from the China Household Electrical Appliances Association, the cumulative export value of China's home appliance industry in 2024 will be $112.42 billion, of which about 18% will be for the U.S. market. Part of it can be transferred to other overseas markets, but a considerable part of the production capacity will still be transferred to the domestic Chinese market. The report quoted a small home appliance manufacturer in Xi'an as saying that their exports to the United States account for about 30%. Considering that if the long-term stagnation of shipments leads to inventory backlogs, the company said that it may reduce prices for the domestic market to clear goods. It is difficult to boost China's domestic demand market without income growth. On the 15th of this month, Chinese Premier Li Qiang emphasized promoting consumption with greater efforts to expand domestic demand and strengthen the domestic circulation during his research in Beijing. However, China's domestic demand market price war has been bloody, and if foreign trade manufacturers join in, can the pie be expanded? If I don't have money in my pocket, what's the point of you stimulating me? If I have money, I know how to consume even if you don't stimulate me. Why do you always talk about stimulating domestic consumption? Can you stimulate it? The people have no money in their hands and are squeezed by them, Mr. Tian from Wuhan told this station. In the past, when the capitalists and landlords had not been overthrown, ordinary salaried workers could switch to another company if this one didn't work, and they competed with each other and their wages naturally rose. Now there is only one big landlord left, the Communist Party. It has the final say on whether to do it or not, and it sets the price. It is impossible not to roll. The U.S. consumer market is about $19 trillion, the largest market in the world. The EU's consumption capacity is about $10 trillion. China's consumption capacity is insufficient, said He Jiangbing, an independent Chinese scholar, in an interview with this station. He observed that many people opened restaurants, but these entrepreneurs did not understand the external environment and did not grasp the changes in the overall environment. The restaurants often close down within 3 months. China's per capita consumption is limited and cannot solve the problem of expanding domestic demand. Data shows that the total consumer expenditure of the United States accounts for about 69% of the U.S. GDP, while the EU accounts for 51% of GDP. The total consumer expenditure of China is about $6.7 trillion, accounting for only 38% of China's GDP, which is still a big gap compared with Europe and the United States.